This conference will now be recorded.
Thanks for reminding. Let me repeat again. So we can able to get this PzInsKey in three different ways. The first one is Shift plus F8. Open any of the rule, click on Shift plus F8. We can able to get this thing. And second thing is we can able to open the same rule and go to Actions and click on View XML. So except for the work object IDs, we will be having View XML scene, and we can able to identify the PzInsKey from there also. For work object IDs, we need not bother. We can able to directly see in the clipboard. For any other rule, we can able to follow this. And similarly, we can able to just check in the database table also. So what are the thing we are seeing here? So these are all the instances. So these are all the instances of the one particular class. So if it is showing all the if it's showing instances of any of the class, then there should be one table connected to this class, and these instances are to be stored as in records in the table also, right? So let me open any of the class, sorry, any of the table. So let me take this only. So in order to identify the table, just we have to go to definition and click on test connection. So this should be the table. So what are all the instances we are seeing here? What are all the instances on clicking on this? What are all the things we are seeing here? Those are to be stored into database table, which is connected to this class. So open that. So it is like, so PR underscore rule section, right? Where is it? Maybe it might be in the different schema. That's okay. So in any of the table, we can able to see the PzInsKey. Let us open the our worker class. So I'm trying to open any other worker class. CH dash. So this is our okay. So for each and every instance, there should be one PzInsKey, and the same thing we can able to see it here in the database table also. Let it load. Okay. So as I was telling, for the processing. So if I'm trying to run this rule, if I'm trying to execute this flow rule, what PRPC has to do? PRPC all the time has to check for the instance class to pull the record only. If I'm running this flow, first the flow action has to be loaded. Then after, once the flow action is getting loaded, it has to load the section. Once the section is loaded, it has to request for all the properties. Then after, it has to request for another flow action. So likewise, for any of the instances getting requested from any of the rule, PRPC has to pull it from the instance class only. So on running this flow rule, first it has to load the flow action which will be requesting from the that particular instance class. So it will be querying one thing, it will be querying for one record to get the flow action from that instance class, and it will be loading the flow action. Once the flow action has been loaded, it has to load the section rule has to be requested. So section rule, for section rule, it has to check for the instance class rule HTML section, and from there it will be loading the section. Okay, once the section has been loaded, it has to load some properties. So the properties are to be requested from its instance class only. So all the time for PRPC execution, it will be just checking from the instance classes only. Okay, so this is the thing. So for flow action or the section or any rule, for any rule to be requested, PRPC can able to PRPC will be following the instance class only. So that's why in interviews they'll be asking you what's the instance class of this one, what's the instance class of flow action, what's the instance class of flow. So we cannot able to remember each and everything. Then you can able to say that you will be identifying the PzInsKey by clicking on Shift F8. Then I can able to identify the instance class, and from there I can able to just query for all the instances. If I just click on this, it will be pulling out all the instances, right? It's taking a long time. So you just check in your system. If we are getting any table at the last, we'll be having one record called PzInsKey. So whatever the PzInsKey we are seeing here, the same PzInsKey will be seeing there also. You open any of the table, in identify the table which is linked to this class, or identify the table which is linked to the properties, or identify the link which is referring to this one, or anything. For every table there should be one column like PzInsKey, that's for sure. And they will be having the PzInsKey defined in these two formats only. Okay. So as I told you, PRPC has to pull it from the instance classes only all the time, but we cannot able to remember this. So if we want to see all the data from related to section, if you want to see all the instances related to section, we'll be pulling out PzInsKey and clicking on this, we can able to see it. But for all the time I cannot able to do this, right? Suppose if we want to see the instance class of data transforms, what I will be doing, first I should be creating one data transform rule in order to open that, and then after I will be clicking Shift F8. Once the rule has been created, I can able to get the PzInsKey, then I can able to do that. So this is not the correct approach from the user perspective. For PRPC perspective, it will be all the time pulling it from the instance classes only. It can easily remember which instance will be having stored in which instance class. But for the user perspective, we cannot able to get all these values remembered, or we cannot able to get this done all the time. So for that, it is giving one more option for us called records. So if I just click on this records, I can able to see the same data segregated in the rule category format. Okay, here if you want to just check for all the instances of the section, open this and click on here. You can able to see all the instances of section. So if I just click here and click on this, so click on this. So are we finding any difference between these two? Will not be finding any difference. Okay, so that is the reason. So PRPC will be maintaining two set of records, one for the user interface, where all the records are getting segregated in terms of an user perspective. Suppose if we want to see all the instances of the flow, what we will be doing, it will be under process category that we already know. Go to process and click on flow. We can able to see all the instances of flow. If this particular records explorer is not given for us, what we have to do is we have to go to app explorer and we have to identify the instance class of the flow, and if we just click on this, we'll be getting the same records. So all the time this will not be possible. So that's why for the user human comfort perspective, PRPC is giving this option, where we can able to see all the instances in the segregated format in terms of a rule category only. So all the time we'll be getting the same instance. It will be pulling out the same records. We can able to see here, right? Both will be same. So this is for the our perspective, and this is for the PRPC perspective. PRPC ultimately uses from this particular data for the instance class only. It will not be using this one. Okay. So here we can able to see all the records. Clear, right? Both of you. Any doubts? Uma, Tulani, clear now?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So tomorrow we'll be meeting at 9:45 p.m. Okay, IST. So today we have delayed.
IST.
Yeah.
Okay.
Today
Then
we
it's
have delayed 15 minutes.
8:45, right? For me.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Okay then. Okay then, we'll meet tomorrow. Bye.
Okay. Thank you, Chandra.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Bye.